Guess what, friends? Guess what, friends? It is officially the third, the third day of Ignite Miss. Day one, boom, done. Whoops, lighter's not working. Day two, done. We have 7 days. We have 7 days in the days of Ignite Miss. I have no idea how I'm going to actually have enough hands for seven lighters. But yo, hello, Suzanne. Hello, Valley Pearl. What is up, everybody? So great to see y'all. Listen, listen, y'all are in for an awesome session today. How I landed a dream TED talk without being known. 100%. I realize that there's so many people who are part of this community who have no idea how I ended up working with celebrity rappers or working with major corporations. So I actually wanted to take the time today to go back in time to share a little bit of my story, but also to give you some actionable steps to think about in terms of like what you can do if you are interested in landing a TED or TEDx talk in 2023. So y'all ready? Y'all ready to do this? Y'all ready to light this up? The third day of Ignite Miss? All right. So here's what we're going to do. If you are watching this on Instagram, one of the things you might consider to do right now, is to go actually on our Facebook group, the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're on our Facebook group, you can see the slides that I have up right now. So now you can see my big beautiful face. What's up, Suzanne? So glad to see you. Give me a little chat or a little what's up in the comments if you can see us okay. But right now, you can see my full face if you are on either LinkedIn or on our Facebook group, Ideas That Ignite. If you're on Instagram, I'm going to talk you through everything, but just a heads up that we do have some slides today. Most of them are mostly just fun slides about some of these people who I've worked with and like what exactly are the next steps for you. But anyways, we're going to jump right into it. Okay, so I'm going to add this back to our stream, and here we go. All right. So one of the first things I wanted to start off with was a little bit of my backstory. Okay. So in 2010, I was just a regular person. I actually didn't have much of a job. I was doing a lot of contract work, 1099. I love people's stories. So you might know of an organization called The Moth. The Moth is an organization in New York City where people get up on stages and they tell true stories live with no notes. I absolutely loved the art form. Loved the art form. So I started volunteering for the organization, just to have some fun. And lo and behold, I started realizing that this was actually something that I wanted to do more of. I wanted to just coach people on their stories, right? It was fun. I just loved like listening to people. I loved like actually like trying to figure out like what their storylines were. So this picture that you see on our live right now is me in March 2010 with about six other storytellers. We'd all signed up for a class at a place called the Pit. And the Pit is a People's Improv Theater. All right. So People's Improv Theater had this class on storytelling. I had learned about this organization called The Moth. I wanted to get up on stages and just share my story. So I figured, hey, why not? I'm going to go ahead and sign up for this particular class. So these are some of the friends that I met in that initial class in March of 2010. And little by little, I started realizing that I wanted to host my own shows. I wanted to host my own show. So what I did, I put together a show called Barbershop Stories, because y'all can see the hair, right? Y'all see the hair. I know y'all have talked about the hair before. My hair is wild sometimes. It's crazy. I spend hours, y'all, hours all up in the barbershop. And so I figured, what better way to bring my community together than to do a show in a Black barbershop in Brooklyn, New York, for everybody to come together, Black, white, Asian, Latino, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Come up into the barbershop. Let's share some stories. Let's get some good food. Let's get some music. Let's just rock out, right? So I started just bringing all these people up into the barbershop. And little by little, I was just like hosting shows. I was hosting my own shows. I was kind of creating my own platform, if you will. But at the time, I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I was basically just saying like, hey, come on through. Let's have a show. Let's join us. What's up, fam? I see you all out there on the interwebs. All right. So lo and behold, whoops, don't want to give away too much of the storyline for those of you who just saw what happened on the Facebook group, on the Ideas that Ignite Facebook group. But anyways, so I started like sharing my story and realized that there was something about being able to find a good story, right? And figuring out what you can do with that particular story. For me, and for many of the people who are watching here today, that story was all about how do I leverage this into something that could be like meaningful for the world, i.e., a TED Talk. Okay, so in 2012, I applied to TED, to Big TED. There was this once a year application that you could actually apply to. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. So I put up on the screen here my initial letter from TED. It reads, "Dear Don, thank you so much for responding to our worldwide talent search for TED 2013. We received hundreds of fantastic submissions from around the world. Blah, 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 blah. You probably know where this is going. Cannot thank you enough for your time and your effort. Um, your TED submission will be placed in our speaker database so that we may review it again in the future," right? Basic standard rejection letter. It even has like an unsubscribe at the bottom of the signature. It's just like, okay, just standard ass email to send out to everybody. Okay. But I was like, there's got to be something that I could do in order to reshape my story, in order to make it actually like eligible, to make it eligible for TED. Okay. Lo and behold, I found a way to switch my story into an idea. And that, my friends, is what landed me a TED Talk. And that is also what I'm going to be talking about today in today's live stream. So just to give you a little bit of proof here, this is my actual acceptance to TED at New York City. I've had to block out a couple of the names so nobody goes stalking these people over at TED, but you can see directly on my screen right now, this was an email that I received that said, "Dear Don, thank you so much for responding to the TED at New York City open call. We received hundreds of fantastic submissions," same first line, "from around the world. Can't thank you enough." And then in bold, "We're very excited to let you know that your submission has been accepted to the event on October 8th, 2013 in New York," right? Mind blown when I got this particular message, okay? I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So what we did, give me 1 second here. I want to make sure that those of you who are jumping in live have access. So 1 second. I see a couple of you jumping over to the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group. So let me just let you in so you can actually see these slides. Here we go. Request. 1 second, y'all. There we go. And there you go. There you go. Hopefully you can now see what we're talking about. Okay, great. If anybody else needs to get permission, just go ahead and join the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group. Ideas That Ignite Facebook group. That's where you'll be able to see all the slides. You'll be able to see a recap of the last couple of presentations. Okay, so here's my actual acceptance letter, right? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk you through a little bit about what happened afterwards for me, because I think that most of you who are on this string know the after dawn, the after TED dawn, okay? Which included me obviously speaking at the stages of TED. And this was like, one of the biggest, baddest dreams come true, like ever. So this is me speaking at TED. Oh, I should mention that this picture with me, with my twin brother in the background, that's part of my story, okay? But then what ended up happening is all of a sudden, the floodgates started opening up opportunities. All of a sudden, I started getting calls from people like the one and only, the rapper, Common. Common calls me up one day and is like, "Hey," actually it was assistant, to be perfectly honest with you, but it was his assistant that was like, "Hey, you know what? I need to work on some stories and some speeches for the college audience, and I would love to have you as a coach." And I was like, "Me?" Like, I keep in mind, I didn't have a following. I had no like major experience, but I had landed this TED Talk. I had landed this TED Talk. So what I decided to do was to take on the gig, but I was very nervous. I was very, very nervous. And this next slide right afterwards shows a little bit of the post drama of what happened. I was working with the rapper Common, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous because keep in mind, like I didn't have experience. I mean, I had been working as a volunteer for the Moth. At this point, I'd been working for like several months, but I didn't have like a system, a program. I was just letting people know that I wanted to be a speech coach. Lo and behold, when he hit me up, I was so nervous. I was so nervous that I ended up throwing up on the side of his car as we're driving over the Brooklyn Bridge. Just me, Common, and his driver. And I'm so nervous that I ended up throwing up all over his car. So I'm sharing with you this this text message that went between us. It said, "Hey, Rosh Love." Oh, his name is Rashid. For those of you who don't know who Common is an Emmy Award winner, Grammy Award winner, love of my life, a rapper. He was in the movie Selma, just like an incredible human being. Oh, letting some more of you all back in to the Ideas That Ignite group. There we go. Let's let you all join. Yep. There you go. Now y'all should be able to see some of these slides. Okay. So this was the exact email that that was the correspondence between myself and Common. So I said, "Hey, Rashid, great job with the speech last night. This was a speech at Kane University out in New Jersey. Glad we were able to connect, make that happen. I'll hit up Kristen soon. That's his assistant. And thanks for Red Rooster, this posh, lovely restaurant up in the Upper East Side. Zara and I loved breaking bread with you." And I put it as a PS. I was like, "PS, sorry about the car mess." I put mess in like quotation marks. Hadn't had enough to eat earlier in the day, and obviously it worked against me. I 100% was expecting him to be like, "You know what? I'm not going to work with this woman. Like, there ain't no motivation for me to work with this woman." But instead, he replied back to me, "Peace." Let me do the common voice. "Peace, sis. It was great to hang with you both. You are wonderful ladies. I appreciate your support. Let's make these speeches special because the people are listening. Love." Right? Now, you can imagine that I lost my mind to know that the influence and the power that I was having over somebody, because I had a TED Talk and started to articulate to people that I actually wanted to do this as a job. It expanded, it started just blowing up. It just started blowing up. And this is what can happen for you. This is what can happen for you if you land a TED or TEDx talk. Things can just like start to open up. Doors of opportunity just start to open. So I want to walk you through what every single person who has gone through my Ideas That Ignite Mastermind, Ideas That Ignite Mastermind, have in common. Okay. Every single one of these last people have a couple of things in common, and I figured out that this is the best way to share with an audience what it was that I was doing. Keep in mind, I may have started to drop a couple of hints in terms of what I was doing prior to getting on TED, what it is that the people I've been working on with have been doing to get onto TED or TEDx, and what you need to start doing now if this is a goal for you in 2023. Okay. So this is Jackie Cruz. Some of you might know her as Flacca on Orange is the New Black. Oh, there's my water. So one of the things that many people might know Flacca for is for her acting, right? Excuse me, 1 second. So sorry about that. Getting all congested all of a sudden, getting all worked up, right? But one of the things that people might know Flacca for is being an actress on Orange is the New Black. Okay, so Flacca was one of my very first clients after Common that specifically was looking at landing a TED or TEDx gig, right? She had a story, but she didn't quite know how to turn that into an idea and how to actually like leverage some of the things that she had been doing as an actress on Orange is the New Black to actually land the gig. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we did with Flacca in order to get her this TEDx gig at TEDx Lucerne Women. We're also going to talk a little bit about Jeff Rosenblum. Jeff Rosenblum was another one of our clients who landed at TEDx La Sierra University. Okay, all of these people, regardless of its business, if it's an artist, if it's an activist, if it's somebody who's an educator, they all had a couple of things in common that will 100% get you ready for that TED or TEDx talk. Okay, so what are those key things? Here we go. I want you to write down these 5 commonalities between every single speaker before they actually even apply to TED or TEDx. Okay, these 5 commonalities. The first one is some type of basic public speaking skills. Okay, some type of basic public speaking skills. Now, this can be so many different things for depending on like who you are, where you navigate in the world. But we want to be able to show that you can actually like articulate your message, that you're not going to like just freeze, because one of the things that TED and TEDx is looking for is, are you coachable? Okay, so starting with somebody who has some type of basic skills is going to be coachable. So if you don't have any type of public speaking skills, go ahead and start getting out there. Go to the Moth. If you're familiar with the Moth, themoth.org, they have open mics in about 28 cities. 5-minute stories. You can throw your name in a hat, get on stage, and get these assets. Start getting a video of yourself speaking on stage, right? If it's not something like the Moth, it could be Toastmasters. Lots of people like live around a Toastmasters chapter, or their Toastmasters is part of their university or part of their employee program. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Toastmasters is another great place to get some experience. Conferences, keynotes. I even put on here Clubhouse. Yes, Clubhouse, because some people just get on stages on Clubhouse, creating their own platform, but it helps you to just start articulating that message, right? So one of the things that you can think about is where, either live or on social media, can you think about getting some basic public speaking skills that shows that yes, you're actually like stepping into this and that you're coachable. Okay. The second place to look that shows the commonalities between all these different people is some type of demonstration of expertise. Okay, some type of demonstration of expertise. Now, what that means for a lot of people is that either you have been featured in a book, or you've written a book, you've talked about this stuff on a podcast, you've been given an award, a degree, a certificate, something that shows that you have spent some time in this subject matter, right? Now, a lot of people out there are potentially just like like your stuff because you've actually been a practitioner. Like maybe you went to YouTube or you read a book about it. But the more that you actually get into your field, the more that I want you to start to highlight what those awards are, or like what are those moments that people have said, you know what, this person really stands out in women's leadership, or in environmental, or in studies, or in crypto, or in HR, whatever that might be. I want you to really lean into those awards, because it shows that other people have started to validate who you are and what it is that you're talking about. Okay, so some type of demonstration of expertise. The third thing is going to be some type of passion for the subject matter. Take myself away from the screen here for just a quick second. There we go. Some type of passion around the subject matter, right? We want to be able to see that the passion that you have for this particular topic is something you could talk on and on and on forever and ever. Amen, right? If you be dropping some love bombs all around the world, you know who you are. You know who you are. People start paying attention. All of a sudden, they're like, yo, I want to be part of this love bomb movement, right? And you can see it. You can see the passion when people are stepping into their purpose, right? But you got to make sure that this is something that you feel like you can talk about for a long, long, long time, because this is going to be living online potentially forever until YouTube goes out of business and Who knows when that's going to be, right? So it's passion about around your subject matter expertise. Okay. The fourth thing I want you to think about, the fourth thing I think want you to think about is to have a very clear takeaway, a very clear takeaway for your audience. Okay. A very clear takeaway for your audience. I'm going to demonstrate to you like how this worked the very first time that I applied, which obviously, as you saw from the beginning of this stream, was a rejection. I'll show you exactly what I was doing wrong and exactly what most people do wrong the first time that they apply to TED or TEDx. Okay, so we're going to get there in just a second. So just want to stick to these commonalities for just a quick second. And last but not least, we want to make sure that what you're pitching to TED or TEDx is an idea. It's an idea. It is not a story, and it is not a general topic. Okay. The story, many of you, including myself, have a story. I had stories I was sharing on all over the world, right? Stages, podcasts, anywhere I could like share my story, I was sharing my story. TED is interested in the story being in service of an idea. Okay. An idea is something that's a little bit more nuanced. I'm going to get to another slide in just a moment that can talk a little bit more about the difference between an idea and a story and a topic. Okay. But that's one of the very, very first things that we need to do is actually understand that an idea is different than a story. Okay. Because yes, you guessed it, that is actually the biggest mistake. Okay. So let's go into some of the mistakes that I see people make and how looking at this list of commonalities will help you to overcome some of those challenges that people see when they're first applying to TED or TEDx. Okay, so let me put myself back into stream. There we go. Okay, so we're going to get to that slide in just a moment. So one of the big first things that people make mistakes on when they're applying to these events is understanding that yes, they want to be motivational. Yes, they want to be like, they want to talk to an audience, but they lean too much into a story. Stories have a moral, right? So in my particular case, I was sharing the story about what happened at UCLA's Drake Stadium when my brother was part of the Special Olympics and I was being a poor sport about it, right? When I first shared that story, the moral of the story was about me. It was about like, oh, like I was a jackass. Here I am thinking that I knew how to be a good twin because, if I don't know how to be a good twin, then who does? If somebody who has like, a twin brother with Down syndrome, you would think that I knew exactly how to, give props, mad love, but no, I didn't, right? And so what I did is I pitched a story. I pitched this moment about what happened at Drake Stadium, but the framework, the lens I had put on it, was around what changed for me, right? Wrong. What ended up happening was TED was like, this isn't a story in service of an audience. This is a story in service of you. I mean, it's like, bravo, wonderful that you learned this lesson. How does that apply to an audience, right? And therein lied the big problem. Most people who are out there start off with a story, and that story often reflects something about you, right? But the problem is the story is not framed in a way where it's in service to the audience. Okay, so that's why we want to make sure that the idea that you're pitching is in service of the audience. So what I did the second year, instead of focusing on me and what this moment meant for me in terms of my life, I focused on the audience. Okay. And so what I did in my application, I changed around the wording, and instead I started off with the premise of my talk is a moment that happened with my twin brother, Dwayne, what I learned about the concept of equality and how I want to reframe people's minds to think about those who have special needs in terms of their gifts. Okay. Their needs, from needs to gifts. Okay, so this exact same moment didn't change. My story did not change. The way that I was framing it from a story into an idea was. Okay, so that's one of the first things that we want to talk about is we want to make sure that we're pitching an idea to TED, not a story. A story is for the moth. A story is for other stages. A story is not for TED unless it is talking about actionable, solutionable stories. Okay, and it's not a general topic. One of the guidelines that we'll talk about in just a minute is that TED and TEDx is not looking for motivational speakers. They specifically say, if you are a motivational speaker, this is not the platform for you, right? By default, the talks are motivational. They're not designed to be motivational. They're not there to inspire you. They're there to give you some practical, tangible steps. Okay. So I want you to make sure that whatever idea you're pitching, it's not just a story, but it's a story in service of the audience. And in service of means what do you want them to say, do, or believe as a result of watching this particular talk. Okay. The demonstration of expertise, how are you going to do that? Great question. One of the best ways, in my opinion, to show demonstration of expertise is using social media. Yes, using social media and using live events. Okay. So people will have like different pathways in terms of like, what you feel most comfortable with. But social media is is going to be your number one and very first platform to get out your message. Right now, like I'm leveraging LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We're on a couple of different places, right? But people who have entered this orbit have inserted from some type of social media connection, right? What you can do, and what I would suggest you do, if you don't already have some type of proof that you are an expert in something, start to leverage social media, right? You can get on lives. You can start posting different things, right? You can start creating a Facebook group, right? I see there's a couple of comments that are popping up in the chat. We'll get to those in just a quick second. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat because we're going to be getting to those in just a few minutes. Okay. So get on social media and start to talk about the things that you're passionate about. Why? I will show you directly the question that came from my TED application that said, how are you proving your expertise? Okay. I will show you the questions. And what are you going to say? What are you going to say when somebody asks you to prove your expertise? I'm waiting. Do you have a book? Do you have a podcast? Have you gone live? Have you talked about this? Do you have some type of degrees? You're going to need to prove something. What was that thing that I used in my particular application? I used a story. I used a story of me speaking on stages, right? And where did I get that? I started going to different open mics. I went to an open mic, and so in part of my application, they wanted me to prove that I was an expert in storytelling, and also to prove that this idea of compassion and connectedness was true to me, right? Because statistically, being born with a twin that has Down syndrome is an occurrence in about 1 to 3 births in every million. Okay, so it's a really low number of people who have actually gone through a similar experience. But then I also wanted to show them that I actually was a storyteller and I was teaching people about storytelling. So I wanted to demonstrate that by showing them that I was doing this. And so the foundation of my application actually was a video, a 16-minute video of me sharing a story. I have no idea if the people from TEDx actually watched the full thing. I have no clue. Not a single clue, but it did have me standing on stages sharing my message, right? So this is what I want you to consider is how can you either leverage social media? How could you leverage podcasts? How could you leverage live shows or live events to demonstrate your expertise? If that's something that you don't have right now, start building that up. Start building it up because you're going to need a couple of key assets. You're going to need a couple of key assets in order to show that you are an expert in the topic and not somebody who's just read about it. Okay. So these are some of the things that we want to look into. We want to leverage either social media or live events so that we can start to show and to prove that you are an expert in the topic. B, we want to make sure that you are pitching an idea, right? Not a story, not a general topic, not a motivational speaker, right? And last but not least, we want to talk about like why this is important now. Okay, so for our last slide in today's presentation, and I'm going to get to the questions in just a moment. I wanted to share this very last slide for you, which was about what the TED crew is actually looking for in terms of what they share with their curators. Okay, so TED has these parameters in terms of like what they want their curators, people who are actually like coming onto their stages, who are actually getting this license. This is what they're looking for. So this slide says, we are looking for ideas, not speakers. We are looking for ideas, not speakers. Okay. So let me see, where's that point of this slide that I wanted to read to you all? Oh, okay. Actually, the first couple of lines. It's actually not the person you should be searching for, but the person's idea or innovation. Okay. So we're not looking, the TED and TEDx are not looking for people. They're looking for people's ideas and innovation. This is a great way to decipher between a TEDx speaker and an interesting person with an okay idea. What will the audience walk away knowing that this person exists, or that this is a new idea, right? So they mentioned a couple of things that are in their checklist. You know, TEDx speaker checklist. Are they a local voice? Are they someone who can present their field in a new light? Someone with a new perspective. You know, you can check this out in case you're like watching this on Instagram. You can see this on the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group. Okay. So go ahead and check that out if you can't see the slides. You can catch the replay. But this is pulled directly from their playbook. So what ideas are you looking for? Look for ideas that originate in the community but are widely relatable. Originate in your community, widely relatable. Why? Because that is the mission of TEDx. They are looking for you. Whenever you are in your community, wherever you are, they're looking for you, and it's relatable to a wide audience. Okay. Look for ideas that need to be defended. Something that needs to be defended, not something self-evident, but something that is an interesting argument, perhaps even with an antagonist. Ooh, I see you, antagonists. Antagonism. Third or fourth, look for an idea the TED world hasn't heard before. In other words, not a copy of a TED talk that you liked. Okay, that's kind of an important one. And last but not least, look for ideas that change perspectives, i.e. a scientific discovery, a philosophical argument that reshapes your notion of friendship, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I wanted to wrap these ideas in terms of like what you need to actually look for in order to show your expertise. So kind of going back to my own, and I see my homegirl, Robin Gelfenbein, in the audience. Yo, Robin, I was just sharing with people the common story. The common story, well, actually, the common story even gets even better because I actually ended up sharing it on the stages of Robin's show in New York City. Y'all, you're not going to believe what happened. We get off the stage, and Common is standing behind me, like literally. And so my friend Robin, who's on the chat right now, was like, "Is that Common behind you?" I had just shared with them the story that I shared with you about me wigging out and how I was just like, you know what? I can't believe that this man might actually hire me. Does he know that I have no experience? Uh, and then there he was. And so all of a sudden, my friend Robin was like, she was just sharing a story about you. And he turns and he's like, what story? And I was like, oh, well, you know, do you remember like when we went to Red Rooster and what happened on the way home? And he's like, what happened on the way home? And I was like, I threw up all over your car because I was like really nervous and it was like cold as hell outside. And he was like, oh, well, that's right. That's right. Dude had totally forgotten about this moment, and to me, it was like the most traumatizing thing ever. But the story is absolute fire. If you want to check out the full version of the story, check out Yums the Word podcast. Yums the Word. That's probably the best place to check out the full version of the story. But anyways, it was woo, man. Let me tell you, when you learn to talk, you just never know what exactly your life is going to be like. So let me go ahead and jump over to some questions because I know you all have been patiently waiting. Let's see here. I'm going to show this question. Would you consider that clear idea to be a hypothesis, a thesis, or something that you would prove? Oh, great question. And I'm sorry that your name didn't pop up. Facebook user StreamYard has to give you permission or something like this to show your name. But so this kind of goes back to like the difference between the idea and the story and the topic, right? So yes, your idea, I want you to think about it like a hypothesis. I want you to set it up like a hypothesis. I want you to think about, okay, this is how people typically think about, let's say, crypto, right? A lot of people are really interested in crypto. Say like you're, you know a lot about blockchain and that kind of stuff, right? I don't, okay? But say that you have been seeing in the news and the media that people need to sway away from Bitcoin, right? Because we don't know, it's hostile, it's whatever. It might crash on you, you might learn nothing and lose billions, right? At least that's some of the images that I've been getting, right? But what if you are that person who is actually like, no, actually, as a person of color, as as a woman, as an entrepreneur, I want you to think about Bitcoin in terms of the long-term generational access that this will give you for you and your family, right? So what I want you to do is exactly that. I want you to set this up like a scientist. What do most people think about this particular topic, and what spin can you put on it that is different, that maybe people hadn't considered, right? Every single scientist has something that they're trying to prove or disprove, right? So that's a great question, and it's a great way of thinking about, like, how do I set this up? Like, what is the common knowledge, and how do I want people to reframe that? Like, so for example, in my case, I knew that people thought a certain way about those who had special needs. I wanted to reframe it just a couple of degrees to the left, and reframe it in terms of like their special gifts, right? So in yesterday's stream, we talked a little bit about the ways that we can do this. Sometimes people think about that TED and TEDx are just about the big idea, because I think that so many people see these big idea talks, right? But a lot of you, I think, actually would qualify if you just think about, like, what are those small incremental steps. For me, to be perfectly honest with y'all, the idea initially came when I was thinking about people who interact with those who have special needs. And this phrase or this saying kind of came to me that was like, I think it's worse to, like, a lot of people are worried about having a child with special needs. I'm more concerned about having a child who is cruel to those who have special needs. Okay. Instead of thinking about, like, oh my god, I have a child with special needs, I wanted to think about, like, well, what if you have a child who's cruel as hell to those who have special needs, right? Which one is actually worse? And from that frame of mind, I was started thinking about, okay, so if that's the frame of mind that I want to leave people with, what would be the idea? How do people typically think about, those who have special needs, and how do I want them to reframe it, right? So yeah, that's a great question. Like, I just want you to think about how you can reframe your idea, like hypothesis. A thesis is a little bit more like, I have to defend this, like this is like a defendable topic. So it's similar, but when you're thinking about a scientist, or a hypothesis, you actually have two different things as opposed to just like one main thing. So I hope that's making sense for you. Let's see. Let's see. Do we have other questions in the chat? I'm going to be going to the chat. And just to give you all a heads up, if you're interested in, like, if you're loving this content, if you're enjoying the 7 days of Ignitemas, today we're on day three of Ignitemas. Woo! I don't know how I'm going to light all of these at the same time. But anyways, if you're enjoying this content, we are now opening the doors for the next cohort of ideas that ignite. Ideas that what? Ignite. Yes. So if you're an innovator, if you're a creative, if you're a thought leader, and you've thought about, this is going to be the year that I'm going to land a TED or TEDx talk, I want to hear from you. Check out ignite.donjfraser.com, ignite.donjfraser.com. I'm going to go ahead and put that up. And we'll be looking and accepting applications until the 21st of December. Okay, the 21st of December. You can also, if you're on Instagram, you can click the link in my bio, which will take you to that page as well. It has just been such a blast to see this community come together to support each other. Because oftentimes what we see is, in community, we get so much more work done, right? We get so much more work done. I can bounce ideas off my girl, Gelado, right? I can connect with my business best buddies and actually kind of like, spitball some ideas, right? It's the exact same process when you're pitching something to TED or TEDx. You want to make sure that you're talking to people who are outside of your ideal audience, because if it's making sense to them, chances are it's going to make sense to a larger audience. Okay, so we have a great program. It'll be kicking off in January 2023. I want to make sure that if anybody is interested, we are now accepting applications. Would love to have you join us. So yeah, check it out at ignite.donjfraser.com. All right. So let's go to a couple of questions. Let's see. Let's see if we have any other questions. Okay. Okay. So the application. The application itself to TED and TEDx uh, they're all going to ask the same basic questions. Okay. They're going to ask you, why are you the person to give this TED or TEDx talk? In other words, what is your expertise? Kind of going back to our previous slides. Why is this an important message for our audience now? Right. So what makes this timely? All right. And what is the idea? What is the idea in a sentence or two? Right. Those are going to be the three main questions you'll see on every single application. And so that proof of expertise is going to be key, be it on social media, be it the stages that you've spoken on. It's going to be a key component that you've actually done some type of work in the field. Okay. The other stuff in terms of like actually like coming down with an idea in one sentence, we have a whole framework. So make sure that you're checking out the next lives, because our framework for how you can actually get your content into one sentence comes down to the acronym Ignite, IGNITE. Okay, I'm going to break that down for you in another session because it's a little bit more hearty, and I want to make sure that y'all are like ready for that. But yeah, that's those are the things that you're going to definitely need to look for in every single TED and TEDx application. Okay, great question. Great question. Any other comments? Let's see here. Okay, on Instagram, it looks like Robin has Tad yums the word show. If y'all want to check out that common story, it is quite crazy. I'm actually going to go back to that image for those of you who are on. There we go. On our lovely. So yeah, basically, I want this to be you. Okay, I want this to be you. This letter accepted to TED or TEDx. I want this to be you. Okay, I want this to be you. We can go ahead and take that down. Cool. Go back to one more. Oops, did I pass it? There we go. So we're gonna wrap it up with me and Common, because I just think that when people see things like this, it makes it real. It makes it real for me. It makes it real for you. Any other comments? Robin Gelfenbein, the pun master. Y'all are too funny. Okay. Oh, actually, I just saw another question pop up. Let's make sure that we get to you as well. Oh, thank you. It just says Facebook user. I'm not so sure who you are, Facebook user, but yes, don't we make a cute looking couple? Don't we make a cute couple? Man, when he started dating Tiffany Haddish, I was just like, man, I done messed up with this throw up all over this man's car, but it's all good. Let's see here. Crazy cute, right? Crazy cute couple. I know. Uh, when you all come back next time, I'll bring the second picture. So this was the night that I threw up all over his car, but I'll bring the image as well from when I ran into him at Robin's show in New York City. I'll also bring you the picture when I ran into him at Aspen Airport at the Ideas Festival, right? So I started becoming a coach. Next thing you know, I was flying from Aspen to South Africa, to Kenya, to Tanzania, working with people on their stories. And then one day I'm here at Aspen Airport, and Aspen Airport's tiny. There's like five people in it in like one terminal. And Common rolls up to me. He's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" He was speaking at the Aspen Ideas Festival. I was helping the coach with the moth. It was amazing. Let's see here. Looks like a Facebook user popped in a link. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this is Robin. Is that you, Robin? That put the link in the. It's probably in the Facebook group. The funny thing is with StreamYard, I can't see unless you give permission uh, to see like who it is that's actually speaking or who's actually dropping in comments. So so great to see you, Suzanne. Love seeing you again, beautiful lady. I love seeing you too. Y'all are the best. Y'all are the absolute best. Oh man. All right. So if you guys are enjoying the 7 days of Ignite Miss, let's see. Let me put myself back into the screen here. There we go. All right. So if you all are enjoying the 7 days of Ignite Miss, as I mentioned, today is day what? Day what? Day one. Day two. Day three. I'll figure out a way to light these bad boys up. But anyways, if you're enjoying this, make sure that you join us on the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group, or you can join me on Instagram at John Fraser, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Like I'm on all the damn social medias. I don't even know like where to focus half my attention half the time. But definitely the Ideas That Ignite Facebook group is a great starting point. Keep those questions coming. I think let's see. It is Robin Gelfenbein. I need 9 of those lighters for Hanukkah. Let's see. And 7 of those lighters for Kwanzaa. I do need 9 lighters. But look, y'all, look, and I hope y'all can still hear me as I scoot over here for a quick second. I want to show you. This is for the new cohort. This is for the new cohort. So we got I don't know how many lighters we need, but we got them all. We got them all. So y'all want a lighter? You got to join the group. You want a lighter? You got to join the group. Okay. Anyways, if you are enjoying this series, next up, let's see what we got next coming up. We have we have Oh, it's my bold prediction. It's my bold prediction around why all you need is one TEDx talk. Okay. So, this next session that we're going to be doing on next week, starting on Tuesday, next week on Tuesday, will be specifically around those of you who have questions around should I do a podcast first? Should I do a book first? And basically, like the process of like what happens when you're able to leverage a platform like TED or TEDx for your book, or to leverage the platform like that for your other ambitions, your personal brand, whatever that might be. So you might have a sense of where I'm going with it, but you probably don't. So make sure that you tune in, same channel, 2:30 next week on Tuesday. We'll be doing the 4th day of Ignite Miss, and we'll be continuing the series. All right. Want to make sure that I'm not missing any last comments. Oh, you do have a lighter ready? Do you have an Ideas of Ignite lighter? Oh, you do. That's right. You're currently putting a private group together. So, Chris, tell me a little bit more. Private group together in order to show your expertise. Is that what you're talking about? Because I think that actually, like as you can see, like this Ideas That Ignite Facebook group is my own little private group. But it works exactly like that. Exactly like that. When I was applying to TED, I was able to show them like, hey, this is my social media channel. They say straight up in the application, we will be following up. Let me see if I can actually pull that up for you. We will be following up. Um, Here we go. Information on your presentation. I'm looking at my application from 2013. There's just a lot of text. So I didn't want to include the entire thing in today's stream. But let's see if I can just pull it up real quick and find it. But yeah, Chris, that's essentially what I want you to do. Is I want you to have some type of proof that you have a group that you've been helping others move from ideas to next step. Okay, so you're going to do a Facebook Live and in person with guest speakers. That sounds awesome. That sounds absolutely awesome. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to be able to like create your own communities. right? We want to be able to create your own community so that people see that you've been making some type of initiative, some type of work around this topic. Okay, I would love to know what your main idea is, or what your main area of expertise is. Coordinating folks and resources. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 I think that this is in terms of your strategy. Um, oh, and if people are interested, I see that Robin is dropping the post Yums comment picture in her IG. Oh, Lord, you're gonna make me cry. The days were too funny. The days were too funny. All right, y'all. All right. Wow, we've been going on for like another almost hour. It's been 50 minutes. It's been 50 minutes. Wow. Okay. So yeah, so Chris, I would love to see, and anybody who's watching this stream, I would just love to see what are the steps that you can take now. Is it on social media? Is it creating your own Facebook group? Is it actually like posting stuff? Is it doing lives? Is it going on events and conferences? Is it storytelling? Right? We're going to need some type of proof that you are passionate about your topic, and B, that you can actually, like, go on and on and on about it. So that way, when you start to refine your idea, they know that you are the local expert. Okay. So I want you to kind of think about those steps that you can do now, so that when they ask you, you have it in place. Okay. So on that note, I am going to go get some water, because it is like, I don't know what's going on with my nose. This is my homegirls company, Activate, Amplify and Activate. Got it. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. So great to see you. I'm glad that you're able to join us today. And yeah, as I mentioned before, if you have any type of questions or thoughts about like what you would like to see on these streams, drop them in the comments, send me a DM. Would love to see you all. And with that being said, my nose, my nose is being ignited like Rudolph's. Yes, I know. Y'all on IG, y'all need to join the Facebook group, because there's all kinds of comments that are popping off. People be, and I see you're on a shelf. You're on a shelf, Robin Gelfenbein. You're talking about me being. Oh, but I did wear my red sweater for y'all. I did wear my red sweater. You know. All right. All right, y'all. The day continues. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. I totally appreciate it. I'm so glad to have connected with you, and just to like to really see, if people need some good soap, pass the bars soap, pass the bars soap. Yo, Suzanne, if you want to drop that in the chat. And Robin, it's Gelf on the shelf. Of course, it's a Gelf on the shelf. This woman's a pun master. I'm telling you all. I'm telling you all. Yeah, yeah. There we go. So if y'all are interested in smelling good, I just want to give a quick shout out to Suzanne. Pass the Bars soap. Yo, last winter she sent me 3 of them. One got stolen. One was like straight up stolen. I don't even know like where it went to. It's gone. But these things smell so good, so good. I might need to get some for this holiday season. Now that I think about it, right? But yeah, check out Suzanne. I had the honor of working with her last year. So yeah. All right, y'all. So keep in mind, get get on those stages. Start getting those assets. Start collecting them. Right. You're not going to need a whole bunch, but you are going to need something in order to show your expertise. Right. Get on some storytelling shows. Post some things on LinkedIn. Post some things on Nextdoor. Right. So just get out there and do the damn thing. Um, and let's continue on with the series. Okay. All right. I'm sending you all so much love. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Here's to a beautiful Hanukkah, a beautiful Kwanzaa, beautiful holiday season. And I'll talk to you all soon. Peace. This is always a part of the live when I fumble trying to find the buttons to end. See y'all.